welcome back to Be Sharp Teachers TV. I am so glad that you are here to spend this next few minutes today with me. I'm Wynn, founder of Be Sharp and the International Academy for Be Sharp Teachers, and you're watching Be Sharp Teachers TV. This is the place where we come together to look at authenticity, joy, and success. Today, we're going to talk about authenticity and success and a very important way that these two topics come together for teachers. Here's the deal. Our overriding umbrella idea today, and what I have seen as I have been traveling, is that we are lacking in authentic student engagement. And you guys know as well as I do, if the children aren't authentically engaged with you and with what you are trying to teach to them, your success is going to go down the tubes. And we don't want that for you. We don't want that for your students. So today we're going to look at how do you authentically engage your students in what you're trying to get across to them. How do you get them to be a part of it? And I'm going to tell you it all boils down to these three simple ideas. You're going to be thinking to yourself, Wynn, seriously? That easy? Those three things? I'm telling you, I am watching this not happen in action. I am watching engagement fly out the windows of our classrooms. Now, I like to think that you're the kind of teacher who really does have some student engagement going on in your room. I bet you do. But I bet you can also up it just a tad by implementing these three, or even just re-looking at how you implement these three things. Here's what they are, very easy. The first one, you want to re-look at how are your children engaged with you. Now you're saying, well, yeah, Wynn, hello, that's student engagement, but here's the thing. Are you up there teaching and talking and giving it out, and they're at their desks playing with pencils, staring out the windows, passing notes to one another, and generally having conversations around the room that have nothing to do with what you're doing? I'm telling you, I am seeing this live and in action in classrooms across our country. I hope it's not yours, but I want you to be a really critical self-professional developer and look around. The next time you go to start a lesson, look and see, do you have the eyes of every student in your room? Are they focused on you? Are they using what we've called for years, I don't know who this can be attributed to, but I'm sure there's some guru out there I should be thanking for it, but are your students using what we call active listening, where they have to look at you with their eyes, where they have to listen using their ears? That means they're hearing you. But the real important part is that they have their heart focused on what you're saying and what you're giving to them. So if your kids aren't listening with their eyes, their ears, and their hearts to what you're saying, your student engagement has room for improvement. And so the next time you stand up to start your lesson, you want to be sure, do I have eyes on me? Are people tuning in to hear me? Are they hearing me with their ears? Most importantly, are they giving me some feedback that lets me know they're listening with their heart? Okay, so that's number one. When you start your lesson, or anytime when you go to talk to your kids, do you have their active listening? That's them engaging with you, okay? The second thing that can really up your student engagement, and this is really important, is how do your children communicate with one another? Are you strategically and purposefully planning into your lessons opportunities for children to turn and talk with one another? Okay, that's a system that you have to have in place in your classroom, where when I say, boys and girls, we're going to turn and talk to our neighbors, they're not wondering, well, which neighbor, the one across from me or the one on this side, or should it be the one over on this side? Those are not questions that should come up every time you say turn and talk to a neighbor. You need a system in place in your classroom for how do your kids turn and talk to each other. If you are seated on the floor, who is the neighbor that you speak with? If you are seated at your table spot, who is the neighbor that you speak with? That's a system and procedure you need to design and purposefully practice and put in place in your classroom so that anytime you want to say, oh, boys and girls, let's turn and talk about that question that Sally just brought up. Turn and talk to your neighbor. You've got, 15 seconds. Believe me, a lot can happen in 15 seconds. And then you have a timer and you have a way of bringing kids back from that conversation, whether you count it down to give them a chance to finish what they're saying to one another, whether you ring chimes, whether your timer goes ding or moo, as mine does. I have a moo cow timer. Whatever it is, you have a way then to bring kids back into engagement with you, with their eyes, their ears, and their hearts, which is just another procedure that you have in place in your classroom. So the first two things you need to critically analyze if you're going to up student engagement are, how are they engaged with you, active listening? How are they engaging with one another? Do you have a procedure in place for what that looks like so you can use it just anytime you want to, a turn and talk, okay? Think, pair, share, some people call them. Whatever you call them is fine. Just have a procedure in place for it. The third thing that you need to be thinking about and really critically view yourself, and this one, folks, is going to be the one that really tips the scale for you. Hold on to your hats here, okay? I'm giving you a minute to take it in, and I'm taking a breath myself, because you really have to look at your practice. The third step to raise student engagement with you is to monitor how are you responding to your students. When a student is asking the question, do you physically turn and look to that student? Are you giving them active listening with your eyes, your ears, and your heart? So often in our classrooms, we know we have 15 tasks that need to be done before we go to lunch. And so while a student's asking a question, or while they are sharing with you something about, a question maybe even you asked, you're like grabbing the lunch cards and kind of skimming the roll while you're listening to the student. Now, what kind of example is that you're setting? Really? Really? You're not giving your attention to the child fully and authentically, you giving attention to them, because you're doing all these other things. Yet when you stand in front of the classroom, you expect and demand that they all have eyes, ears, and hearts on you. Folks, it doesn't work that way. In order for you to have great engagement from them to you, and for them to have good engagement from student to student, you have to set the tone and do all of the modeling up front, and that is your engagement with them. Okay? So even though I saved that one for the last, it is truly the foundation of authentic, successful engagement with kids in your classrooms. Let's go over it one more time, and then I'm going to leave you from this zap of wisdom for your Sunday, okay? 3 ways to up student engagement. We just learned the foundation of it all is your engagement with what they are saying. That will give them the model for how to engage with you, which involves that active listening. Both of you have to give it. That's eyes, ears, and hearts. You can look with your eyes. You hear things with your ears, but you truly listen when you involve your heart. Okay? And then the third piece of raising your student engagement is teaching them how to engage student to student. And that's really where you're going to see a load of success come in. But I'm telling you, if you have not modeled you to them, they will not feel it is important for them to give engagement to each other, because you haven't valued the other child. And they won't think it's important to really engage authentically with you either. So, foundation is how you react to them, guys. All right, enough of all that. Have a super awesome, wonderful Sunday. If you're watching this one other day of the week, I hope this week's been an awesome week for you. And remember, it is never too late to up student engagement. No matter how wonderful you are at it, you can always go a step further and really encourage more of it. And that's where authentic learning and real success come from. So give it a try this week. If you like this video, folks, give it a like on Facebook, tweet it out on Twitter. We want to share this information across the country and truly across the world. Although I have not traveled out of our country yet to observe and mentor with teachers, I do know that across our country, we need to up student engagement. And so I'm guessing that they need to do the same thing in some of the other countries around the world. So share the video out with everybody you know. And by all means, if you have not joined us yet in the International Academy for B Sharp Teachers, you need to get over to bsharp.us and sign up. Membership is totally free, and we've got a lot of exciting things going on over there for you. Lots of freebies you can get right away. We're going to mail you some things. And we have just had our first Ed Pro interview with Riley Rome. And if you missed that, oh my goodness, did you lose out on some upping of the reading engagement. But I will provide a recording of that for you. cost you a little something, but it's okay. But that's the kind of stuff you get as a member of the International Academy. So drop over to bsharp.us and sign up with us, folks. Love y'all. Bye.